Clark. She was Diddy's assistant for several years, from 2004 through 2012.
Clark even said that Diddy threatened her on her very first day working for him.
He told me he was going to kill Kid Cudi over Kid Cudi's affair with Cassie. He came to my apartment livid with a gun. He said, "Get dressed," quote, "We're going to kill this N-word."
In a dramatic turn of events, Sean Diddy Combs, once a towering figure in the music industry, finds himself at the center of a federal trial that has captivated the nation. Facing charges of sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and coercion for prostitution, the trial's second week has unveiled a series of explosive allegations that paint a disturbing picture of abuse, manipulation, and violence.
As her job put her inside the core of Diddy's business empire. Now, Clark testified that she was kidnapped, her words, when Diddy found out that Cassie Ventura was dating Kid Cudi. She also told the jury today about the multiple times that Diddy had threatened her own life, including during her very first day on the job. And she said that Diddy had final approval over every aspect of Cassie's career. Now, Clark, she worked for Diddy on and off for more than a decade, starting first as a personal assistant in 2004. And what she alleged happened in December of 2011 may be the most shocking. That's when Diddy discovered that Cassie was in a relationship of some kind with Kid Cudi. She said that Diddy banged on her door around 6 o'clock in the morning, holding a gun and furious that she didn't tell him about Cassie and Cudi. Clark says to the jury, quote, "He just said, 'Get dressed, we're going to kill this N-word.'" And when she tried to protest, she said Diddy told her, "I don't give an F what you want to do. Go get dressed."
Capricorn Clark and Ventura, Cassie Ventura, went to see Sean Combs at his Los Angeles homes. Combs, this is after he had broken into Kid Cudi's. Combs was in a robe and underwear and immediately began kicking Cassie. This is right when he's finding out that she'd been allegedly having an affair with Kid Cudi. Not allegedly. Cassie says it's so, and so did Kid Cudi. And he immediately began kicking Cassie. Capricorn Clark says she and a security guard stood by as Combs repeatedly kicked Cassie Ventura. Capricorn said Combs threatened to hurt her, too, if she tried to stop him. Capricorn Clark said she left after the security guard told her to leave, and Cassie Ventura was still on the ground while Combs continued to kick her. Capricorn said she called Cassie Ventura's mom, Regina, as she left, saying, quote, "Please help her. I can't call the police, but you can." Regina Ventura said she would handle it and hung up.
Sean Combs, known by various monikers including Puff Daddy and Diddy, rose to prominence in the 1990s as a producer, rapper, and entrepreneur. His label, Bad Boy Records, launched the careers of iconic artists and solidified his status as a cultural powerhouse.
Now, Clark said that she was then swept into a Cadillac Escalade. They drove to Kid Cudi's home, and she claimed that Diddy and one of his security guards then went inside the house. Clark frantically called Cassie to tell her what was happening, testifying that a short time later, Cudi's car pulled up next to them and then took off. Diddy and the security guard jumped back in the Escalade. Then she described a short car chase before Cudi got away. After it was all over, Clark said Diddy gave her an ultimatum.
Diddy is a criminal. I mean, I say this, by the evidence, by what we know, by the video of him beating Cassie, and we know he's a criminal.
Which is undisputed. He does not dispute that that was him in the video beating her.
We know it. We know that this is abject degeneracy of the highest order that has spanned decades. You go back and watch Get Him to the Greek again, and you see P. Diddy's character in that movie, and you understand it was based on reality and not comedic writing. It takes on a whole new meaning. But once you look at this and say, this is supposed to be a trial about criminal sex trafficking RICO, as in there's an infrastructure. There were cameras all over P. Diddy's apartment. He was running effectively a blackmail extortion ring, and this entire prosecution has been reduced now to two witnesses, Cassie and Jane Doe. Once you start viewing this prosecution as the cover-up and not the exposing of the criminality, it'll take on a whole new meaning.
Covering up what, though? What do you mean? Yeah, you're gonna explain.
There is an extortion ring that involves other people that is not being fleshed out here. And it's sort of like the movie The Titanic, where you have this entire backdrop of the crisis of the Titanic, and it is reduced to Billy Zane chasing the woman, I forget her name, around the boat. Like
Rose.
You have, yeah, well, I figured her name, Kate Blanchett. Winslet. So you have this entire blackmail extortion ring. They went and raided Diddy's house. There were cameras there. We know that it involves the higher ups in the entertainment industry, if not the world of politics as well. And this entire prosecution is reduced to P. Diddy and what we know of his abuse of Cassie and potentially Jane. And then once you flesh out the fact that for whatever the reason, Maureen Comey, James Comey's daughter, is still involved as one of this trial. This trial is a show trial.
However, beneath the glitz and glamour, recent testimonies suggest a darker narrative. The trial's second week has been marked by harrowing testimonies from former employees and associates, shedding light on Combs' alleged pattern of abusive behavior. Capricorn Clark, Combs' former assistant, delivered a chilling account of an incident in December 2011. She recounted how Combs, enraged over his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura's relationship with rapper Kid Cudi, allegedly kidnapped her at gunpoint. Clark testified that Combs forced her into an SUV and demanded they locate Kid Cudi, expressing intentions to harm him. This testimony aligns with previous allegations that Combs was involved in the firebombing of Kid Cudi's car, an act believed to be motivated by jealousy and possessiveness.
She and Cassie needed to sway Kid Cudi against telling the cops that Diddy was involved in the alleged break-in. Clark testified, quote, he says, if you guys don't convince him of that, I'll kill all you MFers. But that wasn't the only time that Clark said that she feared for her own life. She claimed Diddy once accused her of stealing diamond jewelry, said that she suffered through 5 straight days of lie detector tests inside of a gutted, rundown Manhattan office building. She testified the man giving the tests warned her, quote, I'm not getting a good reading. You need to calm down. You're going to be in the East River if I can't get a reading on this.
And the prosecution had alleged in its opening he had staffers who helped him commit crimes that aren't necessarily charged, statute of limitations expired, etc., but that he committed as part of this overall criminal enterprise. Phil, let me start with you on whether the prosecution is making its case.
Well, it sounds like, Megan, they're finally getting into some of the meat of the matter, because up until now, we've heard a lot of emotionally charged testimony. We've heard about domestic violence. We've heard about, third-rate burglaries and things like that, like you were just discussing. But we haven't heard much about how this was some type of criminal enterprise related to, sex trafficking. We're starting to hear now that who these people are that are the other racketeers. You've got other employees, security personnel. And so the government is starting to make its case. They've got a long way to go. But until today, I had a lot of reasonable doubt that things that I was thinking about, because these witnesses all seem to have some degree of kind of affection for Combs, or maybe had affection in the past. And it may be that they all had some kind of an angle, some incentive to testify against him, maybe sour grapes.
Deonte Nash, a longtime stylist for Combs, provided a graphic depiction of an assault on Cassie Ventura in 2013. According to Nash, Combs violently attacked Ventura during preparations for the OVO festival, dragging her by the hair and causing a head injury that resulted in bleeding. Nash's testimony also highlighted a culture of degradation and control, with Combs allegedly referring to Ventura using derogatory terms and orchestrating drug-fueled sexual encounters known as freak-offs. In response to the mounting allegations, Combs' defense team sought a mistrial, citing prosecutorial misconduct and prejudicial testimony. They argued that references to Combs' involvement in the firebombing incident could bias the jury. However, Judge Arun Subramanian denied the motion, stating that the testimony did not warrant a mistrial.
He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me. Clark also testified about Diddy's control over Cassie Ventura, saying that he had final approval on everything from Cassie's hair and makeup to the projects she was working on.
When she tried to protest, Combs said, I don't give an F what you want to do. Go get dressed. Clark said Combs was livid, furious, mad at me. I had never seen him with a weapon. I had never seen him making me do something like this. She said she called Cassie to tell her Diddy was in Kid Cudi's home, which is where she and Diddy went next. They drove to his home. Combs and his security guard entered the home. She was still out in the car. She stayed in the car. She called Cassie Ventura on a burner phone. She testified she told Ventura that Combs had come to her house with a gun, and then they'd gone to Kid Cudi's home to kill him. Just a day in the life as Diddy's assistant. She said she changed Ventura's contact name in the phone to the name Stormy so that Combs would not know that she had just called Ventura. Clark said she could hear someone yelling in the background of her call with Cassie Ventura, "He's in my house?" And that was Kid Cudi, according to Cassie. This all dovetails with Kid Cudi's testimony. When Combs got back into the car, he asked who Clark had been talking to. He called Ventura's burner phone, which was the last recorded call in Capricorn's call log. Combs, furious, said, "Bitch, what the F is this number?" A short time later, Kid Cudi pulled up next to Combs' Escalade outside of his home and then accelerated away. "Good call, Kid Cudi. Good call." Combs' vehicle followed in pursuit. Capricorn testified it felt like forever, but couldn't have been longer than a minute.
This decision underscores the gravity of the charges and the court's commitment to ensuring a fair trial. Beyond the courtroom, Combs' alleged attempts to influence the trial have come under scrutiny. Prosecutors have accused him of trying to contact potential witnesses from jail, aiming to subvert the integrity of the proceedings. These actions, if proven, could further complicate his legal standing and suggest a broader pattern of intimidation and obstruction. The trial's revelations have sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry, prompting discussions about power dynamics, accountability, and the protection of victims.
After Combs' diamond jewelry disappeared, she was told she would be thrown in the East River if she failed. His bodyguard, Uncle Paulie, I can't make it up, I'm sorry. Uncle Paulie came to her home, and forced her to go with him to an abandoned skyscraper at 1710 Broadway. These are all important details to be believed by a jury. Where after diamond necklaces, bracelets, and watches, or perhaps it was in the singular, went missing while she was transporting them. She said for 5 full days she was interrogated and given a polygraph, which I suppose she passed because she was not thrown into the East River and was allowed to continue working for Diddy. Okay. Phil, what are they proving with this? What is the prosecution trying to show us?
Well, this whole testimony from this particular witness is a head scratcher. I mean, first off, who lives like this? I'm a former police officer, prosecutor, criminal lawyer, and I can tell you that when people are aware of a burglary in progress, or when they get physically assaulted and thrown yards and yards down a football field or that length anyway, people call the police, people complain in real time, and there's other things that jury could look at to corroborate their testimony. This whole business about working 20 hours a day straight with maybe 4 hours of sleep, day in and day out, without meal breaks or restroom breaks, that's just not the kind of thing that's...
Combs' case serves as a stark reminder of the potential for abuse within systems that prioritize fame and influence over justice and integrity. As the trial progresses, the testimonies and evidence presented will continue to shape public perception and the legal outcome. With the possibility of a life sentence looming, Combs' once celebrated legacy hangs in the balance. The proceedings not only seek to determine his guilt or innocence but also to address the broader issues of abuse and accountability in positions of